We are back. Did you miss us? I hope you did. I hope you guys missed us. We are back once again on a fine Thursday evening Damage Per Second podcast. This is DPS podcast episode 128. We getting it in here. Ain't that right, Forte?
We always get it in here, man. It's always a great time to be with the homies.
Oh, the way you said that. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to that guy, Smitty, Dad of War, Enrique, Truth Serum, Phil, DVG, Spider 13, our homie, Die, H Deli in the house, Big Mad Mo. What's up, y'all? Hope you guys having a good Thursday night. And to address, we didn't have the podcast last week. I did have a death in the family. My father passed away last 2 Sundays ago. And so because of that, that's the reason why we ended up not having the podcast last week. And also we'll likely have to, we already kind of decided this. The podcast will be on Thursday. Not Thursday. It's always Friday. Thursday. Friday, thank you. Friday next week because my father's funeral is on Thursday. So, all that said, apologies for not being here last week, but we will be making up for it tonight. Hopefully. Forte, what you been up to, man?
Working a lot. Outside of that, play some Resident Evil, play some NBA, finish Callisto Protocol.
Okay, how'd you like Callisto? You know, now that you completed, how do you like the game overall?
I really liked it. I mean, it's complete. It's not. I ain't gonna say completely different from Dead Space. It's more melee focused than Dead Space is. But boy, but that game is a beautiful looking game, bro.
Better, worse? What do you think?
Better than. Well, I think Dead Space is still better.
Okay.
It's kind of hard. Like, I feel like the story and the pacing is a lot better in Dead Space. Dead Space 2 is still, in that genre, still my favorite as of right now. But I think they brought some really good improvements to the combat and everything, and just the overall fluidity of the game, the way it plays and everything. But it's more, like I said, I like the fact that you can play Dead Space as a melee game if you want, but Callisto is more melee than anything. Like you're going to be hitting things upside the head more than you're going to be shooting them in that game. And I mean, if you like that type of gameplay, you're going to like it. If not, it's going to be something that's going to kind of just probably wear out on you. But I liked it. But there is no denying that is a beautiful looking game, bro.
Oh, really? What did you play it on? Xbox, PlayStation, PC? What did you play it on?
Played on PlayStation.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have to deal with like
no
missing and
oh my god. Did they patch that on Xbox? I don't know.
have no idea. I got zero desire to play those kind of games. So I have no idea
I know somebody let us down and didn't subscribe to the Min-Maxers tier.
Oh no, they did exactly what they needed to do, which was not spend
leave
that
you
money.
alone.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Leave
me alone. But no, outside of Callisto and Resident Evil, what else is that all you've been playing? What else you got?
I mean, still dabbling in the game that you love to hate, Destiny. That's always a part of the rotation.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, outside of going through Resident Evil and getting ready for Star Wars Survivor coming out in a couple of weeks.
Are you gonna play Fallen Order?
I actually was going to start that next week. I was going to start because I didn't beat it. I'm definitely going to start that. I did not beat Fallen Order.
Put Resident Evil on pause.
It's so good.
I mean, yeah, of course it's good. But go play Fallen Order, man. Like, what are you doing out here? Like, I beat Fallen Order back when it first came out. I think that might have been the first game I beat when I first built my PC. So I beat it on PC. I have it reinstalled now, and I'm going to play it again. I did start it, but I didn't. I've only got to about as far as Kyle getting exposed and having to run for his life. That's about as far as I got when I did my restart of it earlier this year. But this week I'm definitely gonna run through it
You running from
And
the second sisters right now.
say again.
You're running from the sister right now.
Yeah. I'm at around that parts, but
Yeah.
but that's me also needing to chill with so many of the multiplayer games I keep playing, like the one I'm showing right now. So like, believe it or not, this is Xdefiant, and
Is it?
that's Xdefiant. Yeah,
Oh.
I gotta give like we give Ubisoft a lot of crap, right? And deservingly
Yes,
so.
we
They deserve
should.
it. They honestly do. But I do think that we also need to be fair and give credit when due. And Xdefiant, when they first had a test for that game, it was the worst multiplayer game I've ever played in my life. It was awful. The controls were terrible. The time to kill was inconsistent. Didn't make any sense. It was a terrible game. And since then, I remember like a few months ago they did they brought it back after like over a year of them putting it back in the oven, letting it cook.
Mhm.
And they fixed a lot of issues that people had. Now, I had a couple of concerns with when they brought it back, and I was glad they fixed the gunplay. The gunplay work is much better, but my issues were that like they got these characters, kind of like how in Overwatch where you have a character in there, but not so much in Overwatch where it's like some of them don't even shoot guns or stuff. It's not like that. This is more of like a first-person perspective rogue company in a way where you got people. Everyone has a gun, but it's a little bit more versatile. You have your own completely set loadout of weapons and guns, completely separate from the characters that you use, but those characters have set skills and abilities. And when I was playing it months ago, some characters' abilities were way OP, like super OP, and people very quickly had picked up on it. And because they don't have a way of like timing, like they don't have a way where like if you choose a character, no one else can choose it. So everyone's running around with like the same people doing the same skills. For example, there was this one character that just like she had a ability to do like a regen over time for her health, but it was too strong and it lasted too long. And so people were basically just going into firefights, hitting the regen, the heal, which wasn't what it was intended to do. It was supposed to help you heal after a firefight, not going into one. And then they're basically able to face tank everybody like that. So they actually fixed that. You can't do that anymore. I'm like, all right, look, they actually really listen to the community. So imagine a developer listening to the community. It's pretty crazy. And my other issue was I thought the maps were kind of blah. This map was from the previous closed beta, and this is one of the better ones, I think. Some of the other maps I think kind of suck, but they got a couple of other maps that are in there now that I played on, and they're pretty good. And the closed beta is open for I think a week now. It's a lot longer than it was before, but I'm enjoying the game. It's actually a lot of fun, and it might make my rotation when it officially comes out. We'll see.
So when we may make your rotation, what's gonna fall out?
It's gonna have to be Rogue Company, unfortunately.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
Rogue Company, because this kind of looks it kind of looks like Rogue Company a little.
I mean, Rogue Company's third-person perspective, but like the gameplay elements of it is very much like Rogue Company, a little less personality. I mean, it's like these factions are.
Was that
all...
Sam Fisher?
No, but it's like it's a faction that's from the same the Splinter Cell universe, so to speak. So a lot of their skills are based upon that. Like
second echelon.
And one of them, I don't know, but like a skill that you probably see it at some point, because there's a skill that someone could actually turn invisible for a short period of time, but you can kind of, if they're moving too fast, you can kind of catch them. And I caught someone, like I could see it was them, and I shot them up. But it's like it's stuff like that. You get abilities, like the guy I'm using is a cleaner. They use a lot of fire and stuff. They're from the Division games, and he's got like a turret, and you throw that turret out and it goes in a straight line, but it like shoots out flames, and it hits anyone, you're pretty much dead if it hits anyone in that straight line. So it could be kind of used situationally, like in like narrow hallway or corridors and stuff like that. So it's a lot of strategy.
So does this count Sam Fisher show up every time you die?
Oh, you mean with the little icon doing the little animation at the?
Does that show up every time you die?
No. It's because everyone keeps using the same characters. That's my complaint, is that there's a meta already in the closed beta, because there's certain characters that are just better than others. And I'm using kind of like a character that's not in the meta, so you don't see any dudes with like fireman jackets on and a gas mask whenever I get killed. Right. It's like everyone's using the same character that turns invisible, and every time I get killed by somebody, it's not the same person. It's literally like their entire team. Other team in this match are all using that character from the Sam Fisher universe, the Splinter Cell universe. So it's just, that's what they gotta work on before they get the launch. They gotta balance things better so that other factions and other characters are more viable than just the three, because it's literally three characters that everyone chooses.
Yeah, because that's great. Every time I look, he throws the "Hey, I got you." Throws the little salute up in the air. It's like, yeah, that would get annoying after a while.
Right.
It's already annoying. I didn't even play it, and I'm just looking at it.
But yeah, I've been playing that. I actually tried out Ghostwire Tokyo. For the first time.
I downloaded it on Tuesday, and I haven't got a chance to play it yet.
And bro, let me tell you something about Ghostwire Tokyo real quick, man.
Uh-oh. Speak your truth.
I did not know this game was so annoying.
Oh my god, what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Let's. I played probably about a good hour, of the beginning of Ghostwire Tokyo, and I think I may have actually played 10 minutes out of that hour. Like 10 freaking minutes.
Are we talking about actual gameplay? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like it's this is what irked me, right? There was this long cutscene. You're looking at it right now. This part of this long cutscene. After I finally got a chance to move, I moved 5 feet and I went immediately into another cutscene. I was like, bruh,
oh man,
get me the freak out of here. I'm about to snap, yo. I'm literally about to snap, because it's just, and the voice acting ain't exactly the best either. Maybe I might need to go Japanese audio and subtitles, because it's just like the English voice acting was definitely not the best. They need to get Ramon Terrell in there. They need to bring the homie in because some of these, like, especially the main character, I think the main character kind of is a little bit lacking. But it's and also, okay, so like I remember, like, so I'm playing it on Game Pass PC.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna play it at.
And performance-wise, it was fine. There was a kind of like, whenever it was transitioned from a cutscene back into gameplay, there would be like a slight stutter, which it wasn't like a shader cache stutter compilation issue, but more of it like loading like the map again. But it was nothing like too noticeable. My only real issues with the game is I think the controls kind of suck. Like I know it's a little bit out of Tango Gameworks' wheelhouse, being first person perspective and everything. But I don't know, man. Like it seemed, I started to try to make some adjustments to it, because in the beginning it was like the horizontal and look acceleration was like way too sensitive, and it'd be like I'd be like trying to aim at an enemy and I'm like looking all over like in the ceiling somewhere, so I adjusted it a little bit, and it's better, but it just seems like it's way too I don't. It's got its problems. It's okay so far. I don't know how if I'm gonna like complete it like that because I just don't. I don't really think I like it that much. Maybe it's just me. But I've been playing a bunch of games, man. Let's go ahead and get into these topics then, since we got so much to get into. I still feel say the topic list is longer than the gap between Xbox's AAA game releases. Y'all are real messy.
But you know what? There's one thing on this list that makes me proud, and I didn't know if it was gonna be here. Can't wait for that topic.
You must be talking about Zelda, because that's gonna be all you.
3 minutes and 35 seconds of amazingness.
I got nothing to talk about.
Oh man, it was so good.
But good. No, let's go ahead and jump into this first topic. Suicide Squad officially delayed. This was announced today. Officially delayed to February 2nd, 2024. And we knew it was rumored, or it was kind of leaked weeks ago after the state of play that finally showed actual gameplay of Suicide Squad, that it was getting a delay. And we all assumed it was due to the feedback of how poorly the game was received when people finally saw the gameplay. Now, me personally, I liked what I saw. Gameplay wise, it reminded me of Warframe. I like the verticality. Some people say it reminded them of Crackdown. I don't really see Crackdown like that, but I do get people like the purple pimple popping stuff don't look too cool. I understand that they might want to like take that out, please find a different way to say, hey, here's the weak spot of this person or machine, shoot here, find something better than purple pimples. But I thought it looked good. Now, the fact that it's only got delayed to February 2024 is very telling, because what it pretty much means is that all the issues that people have with the game, like a lot of them are really fundamental. Like, people want Arkham City, Arkham Knight gameplay, and that's clearly not this, at all.
Sure isn't.
Like, shoot, Gotham Knights wasn't that either, if you play Gotham Knights. So you're not getting that. Like, in order for them to like implement that kind of gameplay instead of what they're doing right now, it's going to be way more than just a year delay. This is going to take a really long time to undo all of that. Really, according to Jason Schreier, this delay is mostly just for polish. They're just trying to make the game bug-free, polish it, hopefully make sure it has a 60 frames per second mode, because honestly, you look at like how fast-paced and vertical this gameplay is. Ain't nobody trying to play this at 30 frames per second, which is the common theme.
Seems like it is, at least.
For this week is games that people don't want to play at 30 frames per second. But no, it's just like if they want to spend that time to polish the game up, make sure it's good to go and not a buggy mess at launch. More power to them. More power to them. Make sure that it runs well on every platform it's coming out on. But that said, Forte, how do you feel that like this is what you're gonna get? What you're seeing right now is the gameplay. Do you have any change of heart when it comes to when you think about this game and whether you're going to play it or not when it comes out next year?
No, I was going to play it because I actually was with you. I really like the verticality. I like the fast pace. Everything doesn't need to be Arkham style gameplay. I mean, it's not like you're playing as Batman. You're playing as different characters. So sometimes just because it's based in that universe doesn't mean that all gameplay needs to be the same. Characters are completely different. They're trying to make this seem larger than life when it comes to just the overall playscape that you're playing in.
Yeah.
So I never had a problem with that. I just always looked at it as like, for some reason, and I didn't know what it was. I was just like, a lot of people just aren't going to like this because, like you said, it is a departure. And I think people got in their minds that they were expecting something different. Mm-hmm. And I think at a certain point, let the developers design and make the games that they want. Just because it's in that universe doesn't mean it has to be the same type of game, and I think that's what people are expecting. I don't think you're going to get it, like you said. I don't think you're going to get anything different than what you see. What's this? A 10-month delay, basically. You know, they can't. I mean, we saw what happened with Halo. That got a year delay, and you see really nothing changed, like from a aesthetic point of view, and gameplay point of view. Is just more bug fixing, and they can't even get that fixed.
You can't change much in video game development. And look, we ain't video game developers, but we know enough video game developers to know this is a fact. You cannot change much in a year.
No.
You just can't. Like, you can make some minor changes, and you could definitely make sure the game is polished. Like, at that post-production process of making sure the game is bug-free and polished, like, that can take up to a year, and it should. A lot of the games that come out bug-free and very stable at launch are games that went through that process.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is what people got to notice is they said a year. It's February next year, 10 months away. That they're not going to be they're going to be polishing all the way up probably to the 11th hour or the 12th hour.
Yeah.
But anything that they're changing or anything that they want to improve that takes a substantial amount of time, that's going to happen in probably the next 6 to 7 months. Because they're not going to be able to go. The only way they're going to be able to take this up to the year mark and say that February next year, if this game gets delayed past that, then it was more than just them saying that we want to polish the game. That means they're making drastic gameplay decisions and changes in look or feel of the game if they end up delaying it again and say we want to release it like, say, not spring, but say they want to do summer of next year or fall of next year. If you hear something like that, then you're going to get probably bigger changes like as of right now. But them saying a year, they're basically just going to go through, fix some bugs, fix some issues that they had probably with the code on the back end, and then they're just going to play test and make sure that the game is playable the way it needs to be over the course of probably like November, December, and January. And then that last month is going to be like, let's get this game go so we can get it out the door. So that's pretty much what you're going to be looking at unless you get a bigger delay later on in the year, which has happened for games. Sometimes they delay a game to just say that we need to do this, we need to do that, but it's with the plans of a bigger delay later on if they can't hit certain milestones in a timely manner. So
right.
This is just the beginning. We just don't know what the scope of what they're trying to change on the back end. We can only just assume because because think about it, what we see, it looks like a finished game. It doesn't look like a game.
Well, it better be a finished game. It's been in development for like daggone near 8 years. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. The game looks like a finished game. So that's why it's kind of hard to believe that they're going to make any sweeping changes overall to what we already see. But if you see, like I said, if you see a delay later on, like say 7-8 months halfway through the year, and they say they're going to push a little bit further out, then you could probably start saying that it's going to be a little bit more to it. But I think the game that we see here is the game we're going to get then, just hopefully with even better visuals, improvements, and God forsaken, please don't say 30 frames a second on next gen consoles.
I cannot imagine playing this game in 30 frames per second. I really can't imagine playing any game at 30 frames per second. But look at this combat in oh my god, no, absolutely not. Like they better figure it out. You know what? What if like they saw the reception of Gotham Knights and they looked at that game and was like, bruh, you see what they did?
What they did?
Our game is 30.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to fix this. Like that. I'm hoping that was a conversation that was had, and they just like didn't verbalize that publicly and was like, "Hey, look, we're about to fix this in the back end."
I mean, they see what happened with Red. I mean, hopefully they probably in the last thing was like, "Man, do you see what was happening with Redfall and Arcane over there? Yeah, we might want to fix this."
Right. Shout out to 30 people here. Only 10 likes though. Y'all hit that like button, man. You know what I'm saying? We
hit the like button, people.
You guys are watching the show. Hit the like button while you at it. We can move on real quick. Next topic here is, and we're kind of getting caught up on some things. Like this clearly was a topic from last week, but we weren't here
People
last
were
week, so
hurt
we're
off
gonna
this
talk
one,
about it. Huh?
People were hurt off this topic.
Oh, people was big mad about this.
Big hurt.
Like
and BG was out here
all...
taking. And BG was out here taking no quarter.
But people were. It's like that the big initial excitement when you see PlayStation and handheld, and then disappointment once they looked into what it was
once
really
they found
about.
out what it really was.
So shout out to Inside Gaming, Tom Henderson, that website for breaking the news here. PlayStation has a patent. It doesn't necessarily mean this is definitely going to come out, or maybe actually, I think he said that they are planning on releasing this, but before the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is supposed to be 2024, holiday 2024. So I guess within the next year or so, this would be something that will come out. But this is really more of an accessory instead of an actual dedicated handheld. But the code name for this device is Q Lite, and this new PlayStation handheld is essentially kind of like, I keep forgetting the name of the thing, but like the little two controllers that stick on the end of your iPhone. Is it the backbone? What do they call it?
Yeah, the backbone. It's called the backbone.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but actually more of a bigger DualSense controller with an 8-inch screen on it. You know? So what are your thoughts about this, Forte? Because the big issue isn't really the actual form factor of it. The big issue that people are having with this PlayStation handheld is it's not a device that could be used separate from the PlayStation 5, because it literally is just remote play. It's all it can do. So you're gonna need to have and you're gonna need to have an internet connection. You're gonna need to have a PlayStation 5. And I mean, I don't know how well they're gonna ramp up the actual performance of remote play, but my last time using remote play wasn't that great. So I mean, what are your thoughts about this? What do you think about this Q Lite?
Let's be for real here. This thing, there is probably 6 people times 1,000, so 60,000 people that probably would want this, and that's about it. Nobody really wants this. Anybody, you could say you want it. Some people could say they think they would enjoy it. You know, okay, it's just like with the Switch. Like, think of the Wii U. The Wii U is probably the closest thing you kind of think, because it was a gamepad that was tethered to the system, because that's what this system technically is. It's tethered to your PS5. You can just take it out your house. If you got an internet connection, you can sync to it. But the thing with the Wii U was, you can go into your bedroom, you go into your bathroom, as long as your system on, you can play. If somebody was watching TV, you can play your game on the tablet itself. That was a thing that people thought they wanted, and nobody wanted that. Everybody just played on their big TV. Nobody really wanted to do that, because those games wasn't. First of all, the system wasn't robust enough to do that. And then on top of that, people just said, if I'm going to be at home, I'm just going to play on my TV. So fast forward to what this is. Very situational.
Yeah, like
now fast forward.
If someone is tying up your TV and you just so happen to have your PlayStation connected to that TV, and you want to play your PlayStation, but let's say you got your kids and they're watching Disney Plus or something, then
yeah, it's
the Q Lite and play there. I mean, but this is.
But how many people got an extra TV? But I tend to believe that more people got more TVs in their house than they have kids. There's more TVs. Like I have more TV. Like, I have 2 kids, and I have more TVs in my house than I have kids.
Okay, but would you rather? Monitors. Well, hold on. Would you rather unhook your PlayStation, go to another TV, hook that PlayStation back up, and to play PlayStation, then pulling out a Q Lite and playing from there if someone is using the TV that's connected to?
Yes, because the difference is the PlayStation. Okay, some people are gonna probably say this is hyperbole because Nintendo does the same thing, but the difference is the Switch you can literally take out of your house. It's like you're taking the whole console and moving with it. It's like, yes, the base is sitting at your TV, but if you want to play your Switch because if someone's on that TV and they're watching it, you literally take your whole Switch. You literally take it out the dock and go with it. You can go outside, you can go up the street, you can go around the corner, you can walk to the corner store and play your Switch all the way there with no internet connection and not have to worry about it. And you will be able to play the same game at the same rate, the same quality, as good or bad as that is. You can play it the same way as it was on your TV or on the go. Now with this system, if you leave your house, it's not like they're going to probably sell this thing. Like they tried to do the whole the 3G network that they did originally on the first Vita, on the Vita 3G version, and that thing was horrible. It was serviced through AT&T. It didn't last very long at all, and the internet connection on that thing was horrendous unless you were in really rural areas that had really good internet speeds. And then on top of that, if you want to play remote play wise, most people that play PlayStation games, like those type of games, they don't want to play on their TV. Remember, this was the whole conversation.
They don't want to play on a handheld. You mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They want to play it on their TV. It's like if I want to play God of War Ragnarok, why do I want to play on my handheld? Why would I want to do that? Like, if that's the case, I'll wait for it to come to PC and I'll buy a Steam Deck where I can natively play it and not have to worry about input lag and latency and stuff like that. That's kind of like the thought that I'm having around it. So, but I'm not going to say it's not for somebody. Somebody is going to buy this.
Yeah, but enough somebodies.
That's why. Did you hear what I said? I said there's 6 people times 1,000.
It's not 6,000 people. Well, maybe I don't know.
People. Okay. No, there's more than 6,000 people that's going to buy this thing when it comes out.
I think price is what's really going to actually determine whether people are.
It better not be more than $150, $200 for something that is not even a native.
Okay, so what
native hardware?
What price do you think it's going to be?
A streaming. It's going to be a streaming box, a streaming handheld controller. That thing shouldn't be more than $150, $200 max. It depends on. Now, most of this is going to depend on what quality screen they put on it. If they put a OLED screen on it, I can see it being $200, no more than $200. But if they just go with like an LCD screen, that thing better not be more than $100, $150. Because there's no native hardware. What it's going to have in it? A Wi-Fi adapter that allows you to be able to connect to whatever band that they have the PlayStation 5 hooked up to.
100 to 150. Look,
at the most.
I agree that it needs to be cheaper in order to get people to even try it, right? If it's too expensive, there's just no one. There's no one unless like you're a hardcore like collector kind of person that just like you just buy any and every little weird thing that gets made. Like the people that kind of own like the Nintendo VR from back in the day where everything was red and it was a piece of crap. And there are people who went out there and bought that just because they wanted to own everything, right? You're gonna get people who are gonna buy it for that. But if they really want to mass produce this and really sell this, you gotta think about where they priced their controller-like accessories already, and then think about realistically
$70
how much people would have. 70. How much is a DualSense, man?
$70.
This is a DualSense with a screen on it.
You heard me say $150 to $200 at most.
Okay, how much is a DualSense Edge?
$200.
It's going to be closer to a DualSense Edge.
No, dude, no. Heck no. Listen, there is
no
native hard. What are they gonna have in it? What processor is gonna be in this thing? Dude, it's not gonna natively play games on it.
You have.
So what are we buying? We're buying something that you're arguing.
You need to think about what Sony is going to do. Think about.
I know Sony might. I'm telling you what I think it should be, not what Sony is gonna inevitably try to bid people over and make them pay.
I think it'll be anywhere between 175 and 200.
We're in agreement. We're
closer
to
200. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
because
okay. So, the way you were making this argument,
it doesn't have the DualSense Edge features like the paddles and the profiles and all that other stuff, but it does have a screen.
Right. Okay, so at least we're on the same page that 200 is the max this thing should be.
I actually kind of feel like, I think beyond $200, I think a lot of people will be like, that's just too much.
What is this? I mean, at that
is.
Yeah, and as much as we talk about how the Switch is underpowered, the Switch is a $300 system that actually has the ability to play games on it. And stream, by the way, because, in Japan,
I mean, the Switch is worth $300 if you ask me.
But guess what? but it will have more functionality when it comes to the ability to play games natively on the system. Plus, they have their own cloud network that you can stream games to in Japan that does interact with the Switch that way for local cloud games. So it already has the ability to do that at $300. So for a system for Nintendo, and I'm not saying, like I said, it all depends on the quality of the screen and the battery life, like somebody in the chat just said, talking about the battery life too. It all depends on that. But the fact that this thing natively, you cannot put a game in it, there is no reason for this thing to be above $200. But Sony's gonna find a way to charge you $3. They'll find a way to charge you $3 though.
I don't think they're gonna charge that much.
They better not. $250 at the most.
If they can't figure out how to make this and have it at a reasonable price, if they really think like they should just not bother. If it's gonna come out and be that much, it's
how much was the Vita when it came out? $240? Wasn't it $249?
I don't remember.
What was the price of a Vita when it came out? Let me look.
Even though I got a Vita commercial trailer running on the screen right now. No, I don't remember. But like, okay, before we move on, do you think this thing will be successful, or is it something that they're going to abandon pretty quickly? What? What sound was that?
I don't know what kind of sound that was. That just sounded crazy. It was $249 for the 3G version.
So the non 3G version was 200.
Was probably 200 or 229.
I mean, but that was like almost a decade ago. So.
No. The regular version, the Wi-Fi version was 249. The 3G version was 299. Because it came with the data plan.
But that's different than this because that could be played completely separate from. It could do remote play with PS4, but it actually.
But it had native games.
So it's gotta be. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be cheaper.
It's got to be cheaper than that.
Yeah. Look, if it's more than 200, it's not going to sell. If it's less than 200, then it might find the audience. But I also still don't think a lot of people will jump into it.
So to answer your question about is this thing going to fail or not, I think it depends on how long they're willing to support it. If they're willing, and Sony hasn't really shown the ability to support stuff that is kind of going at a slow rate over time. I think in certain markets, like in Japan, it will do definitely really well because that's a handheld market at this point. Nintendo is like kind of dominating over there. So I do think that it will be the ability to do that. But I also think the barrier entry of having to have a PlayStation 5 to really take advantage of this is another thing that's going to kind of hinder it too. It's kind of just like with VR. VR is, even though there's a lot of people that will buy it, and I do think PSVR 2 is going to sell pretty well after Sony puts it out into a marketplace that's outside of their own. So I do think those numbers are going to drastically increase. But it's just like anything else. The people that want this probably just want a handheld experience that they can just natively go places with. But you can't even do that with this system unless you already invested a $500 $300 and $400 ecosystem on top of it. So the price of this system drastically goes up based on if you already have the hardware to go with it. Now, some people are going to buy it just because they buy everything. I wouldn't even be surprised if me or you at some point end up with one of these things just to see what it's like. I'm not buying it, but I don't put anything past anybody at this point. But I do think that in general, it's going to be very slow out the gate. It's going to be something that's going to be a truly slow burn, probably for the first year and a half. And then it really comes down to what PlayStation does with just the adoption rate of it over the course of that next year. Like, are they going to find a way to like have their PlayStation subscription and have that somewhere natively in it? Are they going to have a way for you to just download games to it? Because if you don't have they're not going to. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to do any of that. It's not going to do it.
Download games. It's strictly only.
It's strictly streaming. So yeah, this thing is done.
Remote play from you're not going to have. Not later on. There's not going to be no firmware update later on that allow you to install.
Well, it's not even going to have internal memory.
It's not going to have any storage there for you to install anything on. It's just not going to happen. So.
True Serum said, "What they going to support? They going to support Air." I don't know, man. I don't think it's good. I think this thing is almost DOA before it even comes out, because this isn't what people want.
Moving on.
That was a good topic, though. I was happy to talk about that because we did miss it last week.
Right. Nvidia and CD Projekt Red.
Yay! They
have came out with a new update for Cyberpunk 2077 called Overdrive, and I've tried it out on my PC. It don't run that great on my PC.
I was gonna say, how many frames were you getting?
I probably could have hit 60 frames per second if I would have turned DLSS 2.0 to quality. I'm sorry, not quality. Ultra performance. Which I don't like the way Ultra Performance looks. It looks terrible. So I didn't even try. I had it on quality, and then I switched it to balance. But at DLSS balanced at 1440p, I was getting like 50 frames per second, which ain't really where I'm trying to play games at. So, but like visually looks amazing. And what you can do after the update is that you don't have to have path tracing on. But you can turn path tracing on for your for photo mode. So when you go with the photo mode, it'll turn on path tracing at that point. Arcade says, "What card do you have, SloMo?" I have a 3080 Ti Founders Edition, so it's not a 4000 series card, so it doesn't do DLSS 3 with frame generation, and that is the only way this game is playable. Because even Nvidia marketed path tracing in this update as the 4090 with complete max settings with overdrive mode enabled at 4K with no kind of upscaling techniques whatsoever, running at 16 frames per second. But then when they turn on DLSS 3, it's 131 frames per second average. So it looks beautiful. I mean, it's probably I can't think of any other games that look better than Cyberpunk with path tracing on. I mean, it looks that good visually. But that's it. It's more of look at what we'll be enjoying in 2028 versus what we're enjoying in 2023, because frankly, like, consoles couldn't even, like, not even, it will blow up your PS5 and Xbox Series X even trying to run this. So is it too soon for path tracing, Forte? I mean, just like, what are we doing here? Is it too soon to even be seeing stuff like this? What do you think?
You see it every day when you walk outside and you look up at the sky. You see that ray of sun go across the across trees and stuff. He's like, man, that looked really good right there. So yeah, we're starting to get to the point where we're starting to see stuff that you see in real life. And I won't lie to you. When I first saw it, it didn't look all that impressive. But then I had to think about it. I was like, you know why? Because you're used to seeing something like that in real life. It's like when you see it, you're like, it's not something that your brain is telling you because it's a video game that, oh, that looks cool that you saw that except in certain circumstances and stuff. But when you see it in Cyberpunk, it's like, yo, like the portrayal of light, like it's not even the portrayal, it's like actual light. Like it's like rendering realistic features of what it should be going even above what ray tracing would it'd be way above what ray tracing would do.
Right.
And now when you say is it too early, bro, we like 2 generations of cars away before we can actually really take
before path
before we can take
tracing.
advantage of this.
Yeah, and I agree with our homie Die. Shy says if you need DLSS to hit standard
Right.
frame rates, you're lying to your consumer base, which is true. Like, look, I'm running some gameplay right now. This is kind of older gameplay back when I was like when I first built my Edge Runner build, and I was just hunting cyber psychos all day long in Cyberpunk, and I mean it looks great, and you see all the lighting that's in display, and I think the crazy thing about path tracing, when you look at path tracing versus ray tracing or just maxed out global illumination and maxed out lighting effects in most games, the path tracing isn't as like glossy, glitzy as it's more realistic looking. It looks right. It looks real versus what you will see from some other implementations where it's a little too much, you know, and it's doing too much and it's not really accurate to real life. If I'm making sense, and I think most people can't tell the difference, honestly.
Man.
Like, there's certain scenes where you see, like, certain screenshots that you'll see of Cyberpunk and path tracing, you're just like, wow, that looks amazing. But then, if you take, like, someone has comparisons of fully ray traced Cyberpunk before the update and path tracing and put them side by side and be like, which one looks better? Which one is path tracing? I think probably half the people would choose the ray traced one.
Yeah, because it distinctly looks different.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing I was saying when I looked at it at first, and that's a good point because I didn't think about looking at them side by side. But as soon as I looked at it, I was like, it just looked normal to me because that's what it's supposed to be. It's not doing any tricks or anything. It's literally rendering realistic light that you would literally see every day when you walk outside your 4 doors and you just see shadows and the way shadows are portrayed and the way light bounces off of objects. It doesn't look all that remarkable to you because it's something you see every day when you walk out your house compared to in Cyberpunk when you look at just the ray tracing mode. It's like embellished. Like you can see that they're literally making the light do what they wanted to do in a realistic fashion, but they're purposely doing it, whereas in path tracing, they're just implementing it and it's doing the rest of it all on its own.
Right. Which is going to be easier and better for developers and also help, games get out quicker, because it's not as much work that has to go into it. But again, we don't quite have the hardware there yet to actually see this be adopted and
right.
Industry wide, and which is fine. That it's going to take time, and at some point, some of the other things, features that we see that are standard graphical features, visual features that we see in games today, at one point we're like, oh, if you try that on a GTX 970, it's going to melt. It's like it's not going to happen. But now today, just any old low to mid-range GPU is going to be able to run it, or even our last generation consoles were running games that were running those kind of features. It just takes time, and it's but it will eventually get there at some point. My last question to you, though, and which is kind of like, as I was kind of looking at my gameplay earlier today before I made sure I was going to add it into this, and rewatching their path tracing trailer, I almost forgot that CD Projekt Red has already abandoned the engine for this game, because Witcher 1 remake is going to be on Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
The next Witcher game is going to be on Unreal Engine. And even though the expansion for Cyberpunk that's coming out later this year is still, of course, using Red Engine, which is the engine they've always used for everything else, including Cyberpunk here, the updated Red Engine. They're not using it going forward for anything else Cyberpunk. So it's just, was this stuff always in development and they're just showing it off now? Because it's just like, it seems like they put a lot of work in on an engine.
Something they ain't gonna be using in the future.
Yeah, that's just basically just going to be collecting dust in their archives 3 years from now.
Listen, man. Yeah, you're right about that. And I mean, but it's always a good flex when you can show something that nothing else is able to do right now, and let you know how far. And maybe it also might be a little bit more of a gotcha moment when it comes to how everybody was perceiving and talking about how the game was, you know, two and a half years ago when the game launched and was a buggy mess and had issues and stuff. So this is probably them coming out saying, yeah, remember when, you know, I mean, granted, it was our fault. We messed up. The game was terrible. You know, it didn't run well on nobody's systems for the most part. But look what we're doing now. Look at the advancements that we're doing when it comes to pushing photorealism in the engine that everybody said was trash. Look what we're doing now. And guess what we're going to do in the future when we start putting these games on Unreal 5 and we're working in that ecosystem and when we can bring path tracing over to that.
I mean,
we're already
because
yeah.
Red Engine is Red Engine is not Unreal Engine 5. Just because you can do path tracing in Red Engine doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to do path.
No, they're gonna probably, you know, but they're probably thinking like they're definitely trying to find a way to port that over.
Oh yeah,
because there's no reason that they're gonna be showing this now without having some type of way of they're already theory crafting. I guarantee they probably already got a working version of it working in Unreal 5. They just got to get it to the point where it's stable enough and they can actually get all of the different things that they want on the back end to just function the way it works in their Red Engine. Because I guarantee it doesn't work nowhere near as good as it works in Red Engine. But they definitely have plans to move forward with path tracing, because there's no reason they would show this if they didn't expect this to be something that they would put into their future titles when that ever comes out. And like you said, by the time we start seeing those titles, it's going to be 2028, 2029. We'll be looking at PS6s and Xbox whatever at that point.
You know what? Dorian makes a good point in the chat. He said they lost the source code. So, like, you remember when they got hacked? And
that's true.
I completely forgot about that. So they got hacked. Was it right after or right before? At some point around launch time, and I think it had more to do like a retaliation due to them lying to the consumer about the game, its performance, and yada yada yada. But they had their entire game engine and source code for a lot of stuff stolen. It was hacked, and then it was sold on the black market. So all that's out there now. So baby, they are at the point now. It's just like, I mean, yeah, we'll just go ahead and put this in Cyberpunk so that people could, maybe want to come back and give it a shot again and try it again. But going forward, we're gonna we're gonna move on to Unreal Engine where things are a bit more stable, and it isn't all exposed out there for the whole world to see. But
right. Moving
on. Let's get into this next topic here, which something is that I'm actually pretty excited about. So we got confirmation that this leak is true. There is a actual running build out there of Persona 3 remake and Jet Set Radio remake, and that both of these games are, of course, published by Sega, are in development right now. What are your thoughts about that, Forte?
Persona I've never played.
Never played any of them?
No, no. You know what turned me off? Going to school. I was already in school for too long.
You're not in school. That's just a misconception with it, right?
I know it's a misconception, but it's just the fact that that's parts of the game that I see, and I'm like, I don't want to go to school. And I know when you play Persona 5, it's like it gives you a countdown of how many days you're in school, and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
But look, when you're in school, you'll be like this. This is literally like your entire day in school. I'll break it down for you.
Tell me, break it down for me.
You'll be
Maybe
sitting there
daydreaming.
Your teacher will be rambling about something, and then they'll be like, "Joker." This is Persona 5. Joker.
Yeah, Joker.
You loser who's not paying attention. He'll ask you a question off of something that he literally just said, and then you will then go, "Oh, here's the answer. Oh, okay, maybe you're not as stupid as I thought." Then it's the end of the day. and you can go off and do whatever you want at that point.
Okay.
It's not like you're literally in school, like you're going from class to class to class. Like, no, it's not.
That's what it feels. Maybe it's just the fact that the
maybe it's because you haven't played the game and you don't know what you're
talking
talking about.
Well, I know I did. I looked at trailers, and the trailers look like they in school a lot. It's always like they're in school. Like I see the palaces, and the palaces look cool. Like, but it's like, but then you think about having to go to school. And I'm
you got
like,
Persona
I don't want to go to
3, 4, and 5 all in Game Pass right now.
I know, and if you're okay, SloMo, if you're telling me that it's more to Persona. I mean, I already knew it was more to Persona than going to school, but it was just the fact that every time I looked at the trailer, it's like you was at school, and I'm like, it was either at school or in a palace, or in school, or talking to somebody in a cutscene, and I was like, okay, how much is palaces and how much is school? I couldn't make out, so I was like,
so
I don't know.
This is where you find out for yourself, because you already got the Game Pass, and you might as well just try it out.
They're all in Game Pass. You're right, but I did see that Persona 3 remake, and a lot of people are going to be excited for this. I think Dorian said the school is kind of a hub area, so that's probably why it looks like they're always in school, because it's a hub area, which makes sense. But I think it's going to be great for the people that really, really enjoy the franchise. You know, I mean, we're in a state of remakes all over the place. So I know Persona 3 is one of a lot of people's favorite ones and stuff. So it's really cool to see that that's actually a thing coming back. But
you ever played Jet Set
I'll
Radio?
check it out. You said what?
Have you played Jet Set Radio
yes.
before?
Yes.
And I haven't played the first one.
No, I didn't play. I played the second. I did.
The first one was on Dreamcast?
Yes.
Okay, I never played that one, but I did play Jet Set Radio Future that was on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that.
Played that one.
Like if you've ever played Sunset Overdrive, you can definitely tell that Sunset Overdrive took a lot of influence with the rail grinding. They took a lot of influence from Jet Set Radio, and I am.
Have you played that at all recently?
No, because there's no. It's not. It's one of those games that never got backwards compatibility on Xbox.
Oh, well, see, I own it on Xbox. That's probably why I own it on Xbox. No, I'm talking about no, I'm not talking about Jet Set Radio. I'm talking about I'm talking about Sunset.
Oh, I mean, no, I haven't played it in a long time. I beat it on Xbox. I beat it on PC a while ago, and I haven't played it in a few years. But I mean, Sunset Overdrive is a cool game.
Shout out to the homeboy Ramon Terrell. Says, Forte, you killing me. It's nothing like that. Play the game. Yes. I'm gonna play it, bro. I'm gonna play the game. At least play the game to see exactly what it's like. I've never booted up a Persona game just to the fact. Now I have booted up Shimigami Tensei's and stuff, but I never booted up a Persona game because every time I felt like I was about to play one, I felt like I was in school, or I felt like I was going to school, so I never did it. I ain't afraid to tell y'all the truth.
Yeah, I kind of want to play Jet Set Radio Future. I really would.
You don't want to play it again?
No, I really want to play it right now. Like,
right now.
Yeah, like I really want to replay that game. And this, I remember people petitioning for them to bring that back. I think it was more of a licensing issue. And then I also recall people wondering why Sega would like deny bringing it back, but now it would make sense if they had a remake already in development. Then that makes sense. They don't want people saying, "Oh, well, I just played the original with backwards compatibility, so I don't really feel like playing this remake." They want to kind of really capture that nostalgia, but whatever, man. Like we'll see what happens. Who knows how far out in development that game, these two games are, but.
Shout out to King Thrash saying that Persona 5 is godlike. That's what I hear, man. Persona. A lot of people.
You should know it for yourself by actually playing.
Okay.
The game.
Well, listen. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get a PhD in a video game. That's what I thought I was gonna have to do to play that game. That's what I thought, man. I'm not ashamed to tell you. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. So Phil says Persona 4 has more school than 5, but the school of mainly the students is more important to the story as a whole in that one.
Yes. The school is very, very important. Yeah.
I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out, Thrash. Man. I'm gonna have to try it out, man, because everybody in here smoking me right now, saying like, "Listen, you can't say school is literally a part of the whole game and you ain't try it out." So I'm gonna do it, and I have no excuse because we're paying for a Game Pass subscription. Well, I'm not paying for it. I did 3 years.
And Thrash is also right. It is on PS Plus.
Is it on PS? Oh, I got to get it on PS Plus.
I don't know if it's Royal that's been on there, but the original Persona 5 has been on PS Plus for a while, and I think
it is Royal.
Now, I would say you should probably play Royal over the original. The original, the palaces, the dungeons aren't as good as they are in Royal, and plus Royal's kind of more streamlined a bit. Like I've been playing through Royal. I'm probably about a quarter of the way through Royal, but I beat the game twice on the original game, and I can just see like they added this like school counselor that's completely different. They added another character. There's an extra semester. They remixed all the palaces. They kind of streamlined the combat a bit. It's a bit, and it just in the. I kind of feel like it's a little easier than the original game, but it's not like, oh man, like I'm being it's cheapening out, the like on something that I was enjoying, like this level of difficulty. No, it's not like that. It's actually it's better. It's easier, but it's better, and it's not as annoying in some of those areas that were annoying in the original game. So. Yeah, definitely do Royal. Whether it's on PS Plus or on Game Pass, we fully expect next time DPS starts that you give us your
I'll give
hands-on impressions of Royal,
of going to school. I got you.
Oh my!
I'm just messing with you, bro.
Moving on. This is all you. This is all your topic.
No, you got to start it. It's your topic.
Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which is definitely going to end up winning Game of the Year because it's Zelda and never.
Not because it's a good game. Not because it's a potentially great game.
It's just because it's Zelda. Anyway,
see that draw distance, y'all? It's beautiful, isn't it?
You could have a great draw distance. We only got 5 Tetris on the screen. Anyway,
oh my God.
Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom's final trailer was revealed today, and I mean, looks like same stuff going on to me. Forte, what are your thoughts? You can take it away, man, because I'm not playing this.
Listen. That music kicked in, and I was like, "Whoo!" See, listen. Let's be for real. I'm not gonna lie to you. People that like Zelda, they are irrational, and you can't really take their opinion seriously because we're going to see this, and it's especially if you like Breath of the Wild. I'm never going to be a person that's going to tell people that this is going to be the greatest thing ever. I kid around a lot about it because I really, really love Zelda. It's like one of my favorite franchises ever. I'm definitely looking forward to this because I like the changes they made with Breath of the Wild. And my biggest thing is I wanted them to fix certain things about Breath of the Wild to make them better. I wanted a better overall a better overall system when it comes to damaging and having durability on your weapons, which it seems like they did with the crafting system. It's still in there, but they fixed a little bit of that. I like the verticality where you can go different places above the map and below it. And the one thing I wanted them to do is add more enemy diversity to the game on top of making the open world feel a lot more lively. Now, we haven't seen like what I guarantee there's going to be parts of the open world that's going to still be kind of, destitute or just barren as heck. But it looks like they're doing a good job in making sure that there is a lot of combat that's going to happen from place to place. And my last thing I was hoping for, and it looks like in this trailer, they didn't really speak to it, but it looks like we might get traditional dungeons in this game. Like, that's the one thing I missed the most about Breath of the Wild. Like, it was cool having the shrines and the shrine challenges and stuff like that, and being able to test your intellect when it came to solving those things. But there's nothing quite like a overall dungeon in a Zelda game, and that was really, really missing from the game. So just some of the environments they show, some of the landscapes that they show really lends to the part that it looks like they are going somewhere back in that direction. Now, of course, do we know that until we play the game and see it? That's going to probably be the thing that a lot of people are going to be like, I'm taking a wait and see approach on. But the things I saw, I was like, yo, I don't need to see no more of this game. I just need to see them release it. I just needed to come out. And performance is always going to be a thing with a game like this. Is it going to run at 5 frames? Well, it's not going to be 5 frames per second. Is it going to be 25 frames per second, pretty much? And I think that's the thing that's going to pretty much happen with this game. But is it going to win? It's definitely going to be a Game of the Year contender. Is it going to win Game of the Year?
It's winning Game of the Year. We all know this.
Listen, we're not the ones this matters to. It matters to the people that are going to be voting on this. If you start seeing 9s and 10s, like 9.5s and 10s like you saw for the last one, then absolutely.
They've already written the reviews for this game. Okay,
they're already written.
They're already written.
SloMo.
And there's already 9.8s, 9.9s, 10s. Some people are going to demand an 11 out of 10. It's just, it is what it is. This is one of those. This is now like the darling game of gaming media, where it doesn't matter how good. I'm not saying the game's going to be bad. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, great, amazing, or awful. It's going to be treated as such. It is going to win Game of the Year.
I'm telling you.
I feel bad for everything else that comes out this year.
I'm telling you right now, if this game, from what they've shown us, if this game has at least 1 or 2 traditional dungeons in it, then you will be right. This game will win Game of the Year, because that's all that was really missing outside of outside of them adding more combat to the open world. If they put a traditional dungeon or at least 1 or 2 in this game, that's a big enough improvement to actually make it somewhat of a difference between the first game and this one. And I think that's the thing that people are going to be looking forward to the most, because that's what I took from this trailer, just the environments that you were in. I was like, okay, you're not just outside or in a cave. You actually have structures that you're going into. And I think that's the thing that people are going to be looking forward to the most.
Anything else about this game?
No, I'm good. Not November. May 12th can't come fast enough. Guess what? My birthday is May 20th. I'll be on vacation that week, and that'll be the week that I'll be doing nothing but playing Zelda. Nothing but Zelda that whole week.
This is May 12th, right?
May 12th.
Right,
the Switch.
What else is coming out around that time? Because that's what I'll be playing.
Redfall. But it's only gonna be 30 frames per second.
Well, for certain people.
No, not for me, because I played on PC.
Right, not for me. Movie going. moving on to something that I'm actually way more interested in. Final Fantasy 16 also had a 25-minute showcase state of play that was today. So
we'll have more views on it. That Zelda trailer or the on the state of play. We'll have more views.
I don't know. Probably. I would say probably the Zelda trailer probably got more.
Really?
More I don't know for certain. Someone else can take a look.
I'm about to go look and see.
But Final Fantasy 16, every time I see it, it just looks better and better. And there were two things in particular that really got me excited from this reveal. And the first thing was the different the different setups they have, with like they were showing rings and other gear that you can put on that can kind of change your gameplay style.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's Zelda by far, right?
It's not even close.
I told you Zelda was going to happen.
Tears of the Kingdom, 3.5 million. Final Fantasy, 162,000.
Good grief. Well,
now to be fair,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is a 25-minute video.
Yeah. Also, they do this thing. I don't know if YouTube resets the views, but like it's streamed at 1080p, and then after the stream was over, they did a re-upload of it at 4K.
Well, this is the re-upload, so who knows what the this is the re-upload.
I don't know if that's combining, but regardless if they're combining
the stream had 333. I'm looking at the stream. The
stream
was
it
40
doesn't
minutes.
matter. Like you can combine them together, they still don't.
Yeah, it still doesn't come close to even half a quarter.
Anyway, who cares how many views? Let's talk about the game.
Hey man, that's called. Remember we used to always do that, man. Like man, PlayStation out here getting millions of views on their videos, and poor Xbox is getting 10,000 views on a brand new game.
I don't care about that fanboy nonsense.
I'm just bringing up, that Zelda is. I felt bad for Sony when Zelda came out right after them and said, "Yeah, we're doing the Tears of the Kingdom."
Final Fantasy 16. Why are you still talking about Zelda?
Yes, you can. I'm sorry. This is what you want to talk about. I'm sorry. You can talk about. We can talk about. I'm excited for Final Fantasy 2, so you can talk about.
Then let's talk about Final Fantasy. Stop talking about Zelda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who's your favorite summon?
So far, I'm gonna go with Ifrit so far from what I saw.
Ooh.
And I'll get to that because my other favorite thing from this was
cool
those summon battles. I had no idea. One, you could actually use the summon. Like you could actually control the summon now, and those battles were just epic. Like when Ifrit's fighting like this huge Titan thing, he's running up its arm, and as he's being I was just like, I cannot believe this is going to be in the game. It looks freaking amazing. But the other thing that I was excited about was the different builds that you could create. And I liked how it was. When they were talking about that, they were actually showing. I forgot the name of the ring, but you put this ring on, and the ring allows you to kind of like almost like stop time, and then do attacks kind of thing. So it really got me thinking of like different ways that I could probably set up my character and everything. And I'm like, I just want to play the game now. Like I wish it was June, because like at this point now, this is where I go radio silent on anything else. Final Fantasy 16 or anything else. Where I get so hyped for a game, I just don't want to see nothing else at that point. Like I'm done. Don't show me nothing else. I don't want to see anything else. I just want to play the game. Because now I'm at that point. I'm this hyped for this game right at this point. Now, finally, Forte, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, you're showing the big bad man on the screen himself right now. And this looked great. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty in awe as I was watching that trailer watching that state of play. I was like, the one thing I will give Sony 100% credit for is when they zero in and showcase a particular title and put all the resources into it, they do a really good job. And I really, really liked what I saw for here. I like how the overall battle system. I like the open worldness of it. I like the draw distance I saw. Even when it kind of gave me like Final Fantasy 14 vibes when you're going through like the countryside and stuff, like how like just like from certain perspectives of the camera and stuff. It looked really, really cool. I definitely liked what I saw here, and I'm with you. I don't want to see any more. I just want the game. When does the game come out, SloMo? What's the date on it?
June. I'm awful with dates right now, but
isn't it the end of June?
Early. No.
No. Please don't say early June.
I think it's early June. Let me double check.
Because that's going to conflict with Diablo.
Give me a second. 16 release date. Oh, you're right. It's late June. It's June 22nd.
Yeah, I was like, because I want Diablo first, and then I want to go into this.
Yeah, it's like a week or two before.
It's
Diablo,
like a couple weeks after Diablo,
which really isn't enough time, honestly. If you know Diablo, that's not enough time to get through Diablo. I mean, you'll probably be able to beat the game once, but like that's not.
Well, you'll be in the end game by that time,
right? Yeah, people who play Diablo don't play it, beat it, and then move on to something else. Like go, you play it, you beat it, then you're like in the end game, and you're consistently leveling your characters. You're creating another character to do a different class and all kinds of stuff. So it's really not enough time, but it's gonna have to be.
So how do you like? So what did you think of the combat system? Like just the overall look of the combat.
Yo, look, like you could definitely see the influence from Devil May Cry. They got the combat director from Devil May Cry in the game, and I think it really works. And I know there are people out there that just like Final Fantasy should always be turn based, and I'm just like, sorry, sorry, I don't care. I don't care. If the combat's good, I'm fine. If it's bad combat, then we got a problem. But there's nothing bad here that I see. It looks great. It looks awesome. I'm cool with it. Like I'm not like I like turn-based combat in my RPGs too, but I also like action RPGs as well. It's all about whether it's quality or not, whether it's executed well, whether the developers actually had a goal, reached it, and succeeded in doing what they set out to do. And they absolutely, from what we're seeing here, I mean, look, we haven't played it yet, but from what we're seeing, they absolutely nailed this. So, I'm good. I'm so good with this. It's the same way I felt with Final Fantasy VII Remake. People were just like, no, it's not turn-based anymore. I'm like, but did you play it? Because the combat system is very, very good in 7 Remake. And I can't wait to play 7 Rebirth, because I could see where they were going, especially with the expansion where they had Yuffie, where I could see where they could kind of take it further. And I can't wait to play that, probably more than likely like early next year, because they said winter of 2023, which technically
that's what they said.
Yeah, but I mean, it could get delayed, but
I think it's gonna come out April next year.
Well,
because
even if it stays
Remake,
in winter, even if it stays in winter, that's December. That's November to January. Or wait, no, that's December to
March.
February.
Early March.
It's March still.
March 21st is spring.
All right. Well, look, you have really like early next year, and which I think would make a lot more sense to be. See, this part right here is where I was like, I want to create a build that implements a lot of that kind of like blink, dodge, motion kind of stuff, because like that's how in one of my builds was with Elden Ring, where I was using the Bloodhound Step a lot to do a lot of dodging around enemy attacks, and I'm just I can't wait. I can't wait to play this. Which now brings me to my last little question before we move on from this topic. We just saw Final Fantasy 16 today. We just saw Zelda, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And I do also believe there was some footage shown for, I guess that doesn't matter, like for the Horizon Forbidden West's DLC expansion was shown today, but I mean that's not really in the conversation because it's last year's game.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway.
What do you think the nominees are going to be for Game of the Year this year?
Oh my God, SloMo.
What?
We did do this last year too. Pretty early in the year, by the way.
But I mean, we can pretty much tell at this point what it's going to be.
Yeah. How many games are we going with? 5, 6?
Let's say 5 for now.
5 for now.
They'll probably end up doing 6 games again, but five has been done before too. So let's just go with 5.
Zelda. And we're talking about just games that even get like games. Well, Zelda's not out, so we're definitely talking about games that's not out yet. Zelda.
Okay.
Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Starfield will be there.
Will it?
Yeah, Starfield will be there.
You're right, it will be there.
Unless it gets delayed out of this year.
Starfield, which if it don't have a 60, if it doesn't have a performance mode.
Oh my God. I don't think that game's gonna be 60 frames per second.
Delay the game. Yo, okay.
SloMo, that game's not gonna be 60 frames per second.
Huh?
That game's not gonna be 60 frames per second. On console, at least.
It won't on console, absolutely. I mean, look. Man, let's not. Okay, Starfield. What else? Yeah, that's 3. That's 3, right?
Jedi Survivor. Because I feel like they're going to get a nomination because they got screwed in the year that they could have got nominated, but since they came out at the end of the year, they got missed out on. So I think Fallen Order is going to be there. Oh, not Fallen Order. Survivor is going to be there.
We got Zelda, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, and Jedi Survivor.
We haven't found what indie came out this year. Or what indie is coming out this year? Is there any notable one that's coming out this year that we know of? Because it's going to be an indie.
Yes, it's going to be an indie, but I can't really.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. We know Spider-Man's going to definitely be there.
Well, that would be 5 then, right?
That's the 5th one, but I'm just saying the 6th will be the indie game that we don't know
let's go
about.
6 then, because there has to be an indie. So
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush is in the indie.
Man, but it was good enough to get in there.
Ooh,
that guy Smitty said Hades 2. That guy Smitty said Hades 2.
Hades 2 won't. So Hades 2 is going into early access on PC this year. So like the first Hades was early access on PC for like a year before its actual release. It's starting that again this year. So Hades 2 really won't be eligible until next year.
What about Silk Song?
That's possible. That's coming out this year, right?
Yeah. Hollow Knight, yeah. It's coming out this year.
Then that will probably be
Silk Song. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
4.
Man, it's Diablo. Okay, I don't want to put that juju on Diablo because I really want that game to be great.
Some games need to get removed off this list because we got.
Okay, so let's really think about it.
I'm getting my paper out now. I'm writing stuff down.
Zelda's definitely going to be there.
Zelda is a given.
I do think Silk Song is going to be there because I do think that's going to be the indie that's going to make it.
Silk Song would be our indie. Okay, so that's definitely a given. All right.
Wow. Diablo or Final Fantasy? Not Diablo or Final Fantasy.
No, well, why is it Diablo or Final Fantasy?
Well, no, not Diablo or Final Fantasy. Starfield or Diablo.
I actually think it's. Hold on. It's either Jedi Survivor or.
I think Jedi Survivor is going to make it.
Or Diablo, I think.
Oh, between those two? Yeah, you're right.
One of those is going to get bounced, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, and then thank you, Mav. There's also Dead Space Remake and RE. It's just something's not going.
Can we have 8 games?
No, you can't have 8. You can't have no more than 6.
Okay, so Dead Space Remake, I think is good. I don't think it is as good as RE4.
I don't think it's Game of the Year nominee good.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as I don't think it's as good as RE4. And I don't think that the remakes this year, as of right now, are going to be better than the games that are going to be new games that release
now we
this
got
year.
people in the chat saying no way a remake is in the running, while ignoring that Resident Evil 2 remake was nominated for Game of the Year before.
Nominated for Game of
Final
the Year.
Fantasy 7 remake was nominated for Game of the Year before. RE4 and Dead Space can absolutely get nominated. You already know Hogwarts is not getting nominated. It has got nothing to do with how good or bad the game is. Hogwarts is not getting nominated for other reasons, which has to do with integrity or the lack thereof of the people that are doing the nominating. We're gonna move on from that. Now,
we're gonna move on because Hogwarts. I mean, if you in a perfect world, Hogwarts should get nominated.
Yes, I would agree with the number of people that got it, played it, and enjoyed it, and how
it should be nominated.
It should be nominated, but it won't. It's not even going. It's not.
No,
even
Nintendo has nothing else this year. Zelda is on it. They would be fooled. Well, they're going to release other games this year, but nothing else is going to make Game of the Year. But
if we're looking at Dead Space and RE4. I haven't played RE4. I played Dead Space. It was good, even though, I don't really like that kind of game. But I think
Spider-Man first.
Was it, well,
Spider-Man 2.
We haven't seen anything from Spider-Man 2.
That's what I'm saying, but that is supposedly coming out at the end of this year.
Sony's going to have a showcase before June.
So we're going to
That's the rumor.
List then.
But that's pretty much almost a guarantee at this point.
Okay.
We gotta see Spider-Man there. It's coming out in September. It's definitely going to be there. All
right, we can't be
doubt
throwing games like Hellblade in there. We don't even know if it's coming this year.
Hellblade is not coming out this year, man. We
only can talk about the games that we know have a chance of coming this year. If Xbox was hitting that, I do agree. I do think Hellblade has a chance to come out this year, but Microsoft ain't said nothing about it. So
here's the thing, right? Okay, so Spider-Man 2018 was nominated back then.
Yes.
Miles Morales was not nominated when Miles Morales came out.
It wasn't, but it was.
I can see. Look, you know that back then, like back in 2018, Spider-Man was my game of the year.
I remember.
I enjoyed it more than God of War 2018. But that said, if Insomniac, and I struggle to see where, and I'm not doubting Insomniac, they're amazing, but I struggle to see where they can take Spider-Man from here. Like I can see, great story. They're gonna have Venom in it. They're gonna have the Hunter in it. They're gonna, they're gonna continue on. It's gonna be enjoyable. But if it doesn't do anything differently than we already saw from the 2018 game or Miles Morales, if it doesn't really break the mold or really advance the combat in any way, I can see how people be like, "That was really good." But that's it. It's like it'll be another mid to high 80s Metacritic scored game, and people are going to enjoy it, and a lot of people are going to be buy it because it's Spider-Man, and Sony's going to market the hell out of it. But all that said, it's not going to do anything this year when it comes to everything else that it has to be up against. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to be nothing groundbreaking.
No, I agree. I just think that it's going to be one of those games that has the potential, but is it going to, like you said, it's almost like Zelda. Like Zelda almost gets in just because I don't think Nintendo has any other Nintendo property that's really going to come out and push the envelope this year. But that was just saying it was going to get nominated. The reason we say it could win is because they have to show something different, something more than what Breath of the Wild was. And you're saying the same thing about Spider-Man. Like, is Spider-Man going to be that different where it showcases itself above everything else to even take nominations away from other games?
Yeah, but then we also got to be kind of fair. Like,
is Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 coming out this year?
No. This could be early next year. But
yeah,
like,
we think it's going to get delayed into next year.
And they said winter.
No Redfall, 30 frames per second. What?
they said winter, so winter would have them outside of the period to be nominated for anything anyway before the VGAs. But something I think that we have to also acknowledge, like I'm all hyped for Final Fantasy 16. The most hype for a mainline Final Fantasy I've been,
in a while,
in a long time, because I haven't really enjoyed any of them since 9. To be frank,
15 was something.
and 15's biggest issue was the story stunk. And so what if?
It's a good looking game though, but it's stunk.
What if? I'm not saying this is the truth, but like, what if the story stinks in Final Fantasy 16? Like, everything looks great with the combat. Visuals look awesome. These summon battles, making everybody,
Visuals can only take you so far, basically.
Right? Yeah. Like, what if the story is cheeks? Like, that would be something where people like, hey, that was a cool experience, but it ain't Game of the Year nominee material because the story stunk. I'm throwing out like hypotheticals because I want to kind of see like. Because right now we only got 3 names out of 6 right here. Zelda, Silk Song, and Final Fantasy 16, and potentially Final Fantasy 16. Maybe that wouldn't get in if the story sucks.
What you think? Zelda, Silk Song, and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I think Starfield is definitely going to be there.
I mean,
for Microsoft's hope, it has to be there.
Because
it's going to be there.
It's Todd Howard and
yes,
Media loves Todd Howard for whatever reason. So that's why it's going to be there.
It will be there. So that's 4
more spots. I would say RE4 gets one of those spots because it literally, like, you think about all the people that have played it and loved it and are saying that Capcom has the blueprint for taking older classic games and not just bringing them back and saying, hey, it's the same game, just modernized with a new engine and new visuals, but literally like making it fresh for people who enjoyed and loved the original game. It still feels fresh to them. Like, I think they've nailed that, and I think RE4 probably would get nominated the same way RE2 got nominated.
I'm going to be very controversial on this one, and I'm going to go against my brother in SloMo and say that this game is going to make Game of the Year. I think Hogwarts is going to make Game of the Year because it did so freaking well.
Do you know how many...
I know how much... I know!
Do you understand
I know!
Cancel culture, canceling, and fake outrage will happen on social media.
I'm telling you, it's going to get nominated, bro.
It is not getting nominated.
That game is going... Dude, that game did... It was doing Elden Ring numbers when it came out, bro.
It actually is outpacing Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's outpacing Elden Ring. So that game, as much as the cancel culture.
You want to know what else sells great every year? Call of Duty.
What?
Does Call of Duty ever get
Call of
nominated
Duty,
for anything?
but nobody talks about Call of Duty after the first 2 weeks of it comes out, and then they all talk about how they hate the game after it comes out. You ain't hear nobody say. All I keep hearing the people say about Hogwarts is like, this game is great, this game is amazing. Like, SloMo, how you like Hogwarts, sir? How you feel about Hogwarts?
Hogwarts is still probably the best game I played this year.
It's the best game you played this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it is a 95 Metacritic game. I'm not saying that it is a thing. There's more. It's just, okay, to put it like this. The Mario movie has a 59 on Rotten Tomatoes. But when you look at the user score, the user reviews, it's a 96. So just because the media decided to give something a super low score because for some reason they were out of touch of what the fans and people of that IP wanted and liked, doesn't mean that game can't make a turnaround, or an IP can't make a turnaround and actually do something that most people think it couldn't do.
All right. My 6, I'm gonna say this, and this is kind of, this is almost a challenge to Insomniac to prove me wrong. My 6 is Zelda,
Hmm.
Silk Song,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, RE4, Jedi Survivor.
Man, Jedi Survivor, man, that's a. I feel like they got so screwed last time. I just want them to get in there. Hopefully, the game's good enough to get them in there, and I think it will be.
Yeah, that's my challenge to Spider-Man 2 to prove me wrong and take Jedi
No
Survivor's spot.
Forspoken. What's that? That game still ain't playable, is it?
It's playable on PC. To me,
I'm talking about
months later.
We're talking about on platforms where, you know, at the end of a splash screen it actually shows a logo for a console. Is it playable on those consoles?
Hey man, if it ain't hitting 60, then I would say probably not. And I think that is a great segue to our next topic, and it's going to be a doozy.
Oh man,
So,
can't believe that this is happening.
Oh boy, there was some news today that came out. Actually, not today. I'm sorry. Yesterday that came out. And this news was kind of set the internet on fire. Redfall. And I will give them credit for this, and this would be probably the only thing I'm really giving them credit for right now. They at least told us, because when it came to Gotham Knight, WB Games, and WB Montreal, they tried to hide the fact they didn't have a performance mode all the way up until launch, and then less than a week before launch, it was revealed, not by their own volition, that the game didn't have a performance mode. So at least Arcane told us this disappointing news that the Xbox Series X and S version of Redfall will not have a performance mode at launch. It is coming later on in the patch. Timetable on that has not been said yet, but at launch they are shooting for, they said 4K, and I'm not certain whether that's going to be native 4K or not. I would say probably not, but 4K 30 frames per second for the Xbox Series X, and 1440p and 30 frames per second for the Xbox Series S. And what I'm showing right now is footage from IGN, the absolute worst footage of this game you'll probably ever find, because IGN just absolutely sucks at playing games and playing this completely wrong, for however Arcane desired people to play the game. But Forte, okay, let me set this up this way. Forte.
Mm-hmm.
Should they delay Redfall until a performance mode is available for the game?
I feel like they should delay Redfall until they find people that know how to play the game first. But
well, I mean that's just don't let IGN touch
so
it.
that IGN touch it. Yes, absolutely, because I feel.
But Forte.
Mhm.
They made a promise. They made a commitment. They said, hey, the games that you see at this E3, these games are coming out in the next 12 months. And if Redfall gets delayed, then none of those games that there are their games actually made that 12-month commitment. Is that important?
Where's Starfield? Where's Forza?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
Where are they? Last time I checked, those games are well outside as of right now, outside. Well, we know Starfield's outside that window. Forza is looking more and more like it's going to be outside that window. So we done already reneged on people when it came to stuff like that. So what's one more title? I mean, listen, man, I don't like talking about saying games need to get delayed, but I feel like people spend way too much money on their hobby. You know, this generation was supposed to be more about performance than anything else. Graphical fidelity is a great thing, but performance is king. And a game coming out at 30 frames per second if it was already going to be said that the game was 30 frames per second, yeah, I probably would have a problem with it. But knowing that 60 frames per second was on the table, and you're basically saying it's going to come in a later patch, I'm like, a later patch. So why just delay the game? How long is this patch going to take? A month? 2 months? Are we going? Are more people going to play the game and beat the game at an inferior frame rate and then decide not to come back and play the game? Because I'll tell you right now, if I play this game on day one, well, I will play it on day one, come play it on PC where I can play at 60 frames per second.
Oh, hold on a sec. Let's talk about that PC version.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this.
Now, I'm not gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to call anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some content creators that were able to play this that spoke about the performance when they did their previews of it. And there's some that waited until after all this stuff came out to speak honestly about the performance and whatnot. It is what it is. That said, when they flew out these content creators and influencers out to LA to have them play Redfall in person, they had them playing Redfall on PC, and the game is running at 1080p resolution. The lowest resolution that you could say is acceptable, and it was supposed to be at 60 frames per second, but multiple people have said that it struggled to keep 60 frames per second. Now, we do not know the builds of the PCs they had people playing this game on, but 1080p 60 FPS, what potato did you have these people playing? Or is the game that badly optimized that it's not really the hardware that's the problem, it's optimization and a lack of polish for the game? Is it really coming in this high? So even though you and I are like, man, at 30 FPS is for the birds, I'm playing it on PC. Are we going to be enjoying it on PC?
That will be no better.
Yes, that's where I'm at right now. And literally, if these are the kind of like questions that we have here. Is it going to be a buggy, unoptimized mess on PC? There's no performance mode on consoles. Yes, delay the game. Why? This really shouldn't be a question. Delay the game. And if someone's going to say, oh, well, you guys, people complain about Starfield being delayed. I never complained about Starfield being delayed. I said if the game needs to be delayed, delay the game. What I complained about was, and what I said from the very start was, don't make these kind of 12-month commitments at E3 when you can't guarantee those games will be available in that time period.
Right.
Because what you did was you tailored your entire show to just those 12 months, and then you couldn't even keep to it. What's the purpose? You should have just showed us other stuff that people wanted to see, because there were a ton of people who were expecting to see Fable or Hellblade 2 or Avowed, and they didn't see any of that because they were clearly outside of that window, but so are these games. So it's just missed opportunities, you know. So all that said, I'm still interested in Redfall, but it's looking kind of spooky here. It's looking real spooky. Not as spooky as this gameplay from IGN.
Where my man is, he out here throwing teleporters, ain't even using them. He's running from the enemy.
Who decides?
He's shooting enemies and getting them to 10% health, and then he stops shooting them.
Why? Just finish him off, stupid.
Just finish him.
Why are you shooting a guy and then say, you know what? I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna give mercy on you. I'm just gonna run away now. Oh, my teammates are down. Let me go pick this lock. Why? What are you doing? Why are you picking locks while your teammates need to be revived? Why are you deciding to switch to a sniper rifle in a garage with the boss literally in front of you? Who played this game?
Who edited this gameplay on top of that?
Does IGN? Oh yeah, every time there's a cut, it's because he died.
Because
does
he died.
IGN care at all? Like, can you look, publishers, platform holders, please stop doing IGN first. It never works out. The last IGN first I can recall was Forspoken, which the game didn't review that well anyway, right? But I remember that 7-minute footage of Forspoken on IGN first, and at the end of it was Frey fighting a mob, and the guy clearly had no clue what the heck to do. He was literally running around in a circle, running away from the enemies, and then stopping to choose a spell, and then do a spell, and then keep running. It was like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to play this game, clearly. And especially if you play Forspoken, you know that's not how you play Forspoken. It's just, stop giving your games to IGN. Just stop. But regardless of that, if your game, there's so much about this game that's not going to be ready at launch. Offline mode. Apparently they're not going to give everybody story co-op progression, which I think is a major mistake that developers keep making when they come out with these games that are designed around co-op, but you don't want to give progression to anybody but the host. I think that's a terrible idea. All it does is promote people choosing to play solo on their own instead of playing with friends, which is what you want them to do. You've got clearly an issue in optimizing the game and getting it ready at launch, because you can't get the performance mode there. And there are people online on Twitter who have gone through Web Archive and found where the game was promoted to have 60 frames per second on Xbox months ago, but now they've removed 60 FPS off of like one of the tags that was there for what the game like features that the game would have. And it's like, yo, you're not ready. And
I swear this guy was panicking when he was playing.
Oh, clearly.
He's just throwing stuff.
Yeah. The boss is right there. I'm just gonna run right past him.
Oh my god. No, listen, like, so the biggest thing for me, like, just, it's been a bad week for Redfall, and the bad thing is there's only been 3 times that we've seen genuine gameplay from Redfall. 2 times was curated by Arcane themselves, and 1 time was IGN first. And I said this on RDX. Shout out to, the RDX panel. Shout out to Dealer and everybody over there. I said this over there. And the biggest mistake I feel that happens with this is this is what you're going to get. This is the game. This is the game right here. And somebody is going to have this experience playing the game. Like, but this isn't the experience you're supposed to let people see on a global, as like your first like in public gameplay reveal outside of what the developers are curating for you. Now, I'm not trying to say you're supposed to embellish what it's supposed to be, but let's be for real. Like, SloMo, do you post garbage? Like, you play Call of Duty, you play Halo. Mm-hmm. There's games that you play Halo where you look at it, you're like, I played like trash. Nobody's going to ever see this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
everybody has a bad match.
And you're never going to post that gameplay.
I'm not taking my bad matches and like I mean, like, of course, if you're live, if I'm streaming myself playing a game,
well, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. It is what it is. Like, I have a great match, or you have a so-so match, a ho-hum match. I went 11 and 12 this match. That's mediocre. Oh well. But like, I don't take that gameplay and then, like, hey, here's an entire match of me going 15 and 16. Who the heck wants to see that?
Who wants to see that? Because it makes the game look worse. Because listen, it makes the game look worse than it actually is. Because if you watch people play at a high level, like, it looks really good. Like, shout out, Cody Eastwood did that, his trailer where he broke down and did all the different stuff that he got from Arcane when it came to the footage they gave them, and the way he cut it together, it looked good. It looked really good. Now, I'm not saying that's something that everybody needs to do, but I'm just saying that when I seen this gameplay, I'm like, dude, I would have, if I was the editor of this video, I would have went to them and said, listen, y'all need to redo this. This is terrible. This is bad. Y'all make because all you're doing is making the game look worse than it possibly is. And that's all people are going to think about. And look what happens 2 days later. 2 days after all that stuff, well, 2 or 3 days later after that, now we get from the developers that it's going to be 30 frames per second, and you got to wait for a patch to get the performance mode. So now you tie those two things together, and now it's like this snowball rolling down a hill, and everybody's like, well, see, Microsoft in this and Microsoft in that. It is like it's just super it doesn't need to be this way. And it all starts because this was terrible.
And you know what? Why are you giving your game to IGN first in the first place?
Yeah,
does Nintendo give Zelda to IGN first?
Heck no. They did their own trailer.
They do their own showcase. Did Sony and Square Enix give Final Fantasy 16 to IGN first? No, they did their own showcase. You should have did your own showcase for Redfall, and then you would have had people who know how to play the game actually playing the game and not having the game look ridiculous.
Crazy,
question, well, real quick, shout out to Melodic Punk. Haven't seen him in a while. Hope you're having a good one, Melodic. He said with a $5 super chat, appreciate you, sir. Says adding that Zelda Switch OLED to my Zelda collection. I'm hyped for Tears of the Kingdom. All right. Good for
I'm
you,
getting
man.
one too, baby. I got one too. Let's go.
Now, Forte, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Because apparently some people in the chat are having a hard time comprehending. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the difference between understanding that Starfield needed to be delayed and that's fine, but also understanding that you should have never made the commitment to those games coming out in the next
first
12 months?
Yeah.
You see there's a difference between the two, right? You
Right.
see that they're not the same thing, right?
Right.
Apparently people in the chat, I don't know if they sniffed gas fumes as a kid.
Oh man.
And
Don't talk
and they got some issues. It's a little hard, the understand. I don't know if there's been a lack of sleep issue. Maybe they need a nap. They need to take a rest. They're hungry or something. They maybe need to eat dinner. I don't know. But that seems pretty simple to understand, those two different things. And look, I'm clearly being sarcastic here, and I'm not.
Right.
Don't take it personally, but yeah, some of y'all comprehension skills need some work. Need some milk. Comprehension skills need some milk.
Okay, so player, he says, didn't they do a gameplay reveal in January when they did the I think it was the showcase. I said, yeah, they did. And inherently, I don't have a problem with IGN doing gameplay. The problem I have is the gameplay that I don't have a problem. No, literally, I don't have a problem.
You stop.
Go ahead.
There's a problem with IGN doing gameplay.
No, because they did gameplay for Horizon.
Cuphead.
They did Horizon Forbidden West gameplay.
Cuphead.
Well,
one time, IGN actually plays a game, and they don't make themselves look like they never picked up a controller before. And it's okay that they do this all the time.
They do IGN first all the time, and the only two times we can really definitively look at is Cuphead, where that person didn't know. And shout out to Jeff Grubb. He said, man, I know that guy, man, because he was on the show and he was like, I can't talk. He said, I know the guy who played that, and I felt bad for him. But We talk about Cuphead and we talk about this now. Two instances of all the time that IGN been doing IGN first. So I don't inherently have a problem with IGN doing gameplay. I have a problem when you decide that this is the gameplay you decided out of all the gameplay that you got that you wanted to show this. It's like there was like these people are editors. They their whole job is to talk about games in the light of showcasing what they're about. And you thought that this was good enough to actually make not only the game look appealing, because let's be fair, IGN first is all about showcasing and try to show the best light in the game. They don't do IGN firsts to say, oh, this game sucks. They wait for the review to do that. They don't do it in like IGN first, but it looks like they just said, oh, we're just gonna take whatever gameplay we got and we're just gonna spew it across a timeline and say, this is what we got and this is how it plays. And I just don't agree with that. So I don't think that holding like all of it was terrible that they did this, but I also don't think that it's completely crazy to see IGN do gameplay, because they did gameplay good before, and everybody, and I've been listening, like Mav and them said, and a lot of other people said it in their videos and in their podcasts. It just seems like they chose to do this to Xbox, because Xbox is who this happened to. And guess what? Cuphead was a game that was exclusive to who? Xbox. It seems like this only happens to Xbox, and it's just terrible. I don't know why, but that's what I have a problem with, SloMo.
Yeah. I have a problem with a lot of things that they've been doing, and I think that I'm kind of beyond the point of expecting them to do things differently. And I can go all the way back to, there are two things that they keep doing with these games that I think that are really kind of sabotaging their own studios. One is they keep releasing games too early, and that's really
True.
like it shows in two separate ways. They feel like, oh, we gotta have a game out for a certain time period because there's all these gaps in our content delivery, which is other issues that they may have going on with managing the talent that they have. But because of those issues, or you know, one game or two games get delayed, now you have a content gap. Now you don't want another game to get delayed when it needs it. Like that's not the way to handle that. It shows in two separate ways. The first way it shows is incomplete games. It's not optimized well. The game comes out and it's got tons of performance issues. We've seen this all the way back since 2018 with State of Decay. In 2018, they dropped two games. It was Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2. Both of these games were not ready for two separate reasons. One, it was not ready. Sea of Thieves was not ready because it didn't have content. It was a polished game with no content. It got content later on, but when it got content later on, that should have been when you should have released the game 2 years later when it had like all this content and campaigns and all kinds of stuff. State of Decay 2 was a buggy mess at launch, and that game should have been delayed so that the game, although it had content, was actually playable for people who wanted to play. A lot of the issues, the bugs occurred when people were playing in co-op, which was also what they featured a lot when they were marketing the game. Both of those come down to one root issue, which is you keep releasing these games too early.
Facts.
Now, hopefully with Starfield, that's the opposite. And maybe that was, I don't know, maybe Bethesda, maybe Todd Howard, put a hard, hey, look, I need this delay. But we also kind of understand that, like, a lot of Todd Howard's games are kind of buggy at launch anyway. So is this to avoid that usual Bethesda Game Studios bugs, or is it to actually get it to where it normally is, where a typical Bethesda Game Studios game is typically buggy? I don't know, right? But this is I'm past the point where I expect them to not do this, because it's been happening too often, and it's just like, all right, well, shock me when you have a feature-rich, polished, optimized game at launch. Shock me when you're ready to do that. And that's kind of where I'm at this point. And when someone is consistently dropping the ball when it comes to that, to the point where it's like you're looking at people out here who are, hardcore Xbox content creators that are always trying to look on the bright side of things with Xbox. Even they're just like, yo, bro, just delay the game. What are you doing?
Yep, just delay the game.
And it falls on deaf ears. And so I'm not shocked. This is at this point, it's kind of what I expect. Anything else you want to say about this, man?
No, man, I don't want to be negative no more, because I'm definitely going to play the game, and I'm definitely going to play it on PC. There is cross-platform play, so you can play with PC and Xbox together. It's just that I feel I'm just so disappointed to see, once again, people that spend $500+, especially $500, because we know the S sometimes has struggles in running games at 60 frames per second. But when you're saying Xbox Series S and X is going to be, they're going to have to both deal with this, I just find that as disheartening. It's like we spent $500+ on a system to be able to enjoy games and have better performance. And yes, I do understand that they said it's going to be a patch that's going to come out later, but I'm just tired of hearing the narrative about games not being done on day one. And somebody said it earlier in the chat, if this game wasn't in Game Pass, it would be the patch. The game it would have 60 frames per second at launch. But since it's going to be in Game Pass and they feel like they can, and who knows if this is the truth, but the fact that it's in Game Pass, they feel like, well, we get the game out there and people will play it and we'll patch it later.
I hope that's not the case, because that's definitely not. But
the unfortunate thing is, SloMo, guess what?
They did this not helping Game Pass. Game Pass's reputation, and people kind of feeling like it's not quality, it's discount gaming. It's like it's good AA and indie games, but when it comes to AAA games, you're essentially getting the AAA games that weren't believed in. You're essentially getting publishers, a publisher putting their game in there when they feel like it wasn't going to live up to expectations.
Right.
And so that's the perception of Game Pass. You're not helping that own perception with your own games if you're willingly dropping unfinished games in there and thinking, oh, well, it's in Game Pass and we'll get a bunch of people trying it and maybe they'll stick with it long enough for us to polish it up post-launch. I'm like, you're not helping your own reputation of your own service if you do things like that.
Facts. And that's the problem I have with it.
Shout out to Enrique with the $2 super chat. It says the best place to experience Xbox is on PC, and I have to agree. We don't have to worry about whether we get.
About to be the best place to experience all games, even PlayStation games.
Well, I agree.
Well, you know what? Right now, no, they sabotaging the PC games right now on PlayStation. So sabotage is in the works. They said we can't let you have better performance than our console. Right. Guess what? PlayStation out here talking about we gonna get inferior, broken versions of games, and they giving it to us on PC. How the nerve of them?
Yeah. The nerve of PlayStation. The nerve of Sony to remove Cyberpunk 2077 off of the PSN store because it was a broken game and it was a broken product that they were selling, and then they out here selling The Last of Us Part 2 on PC, a broken product that didn't live up to expectations. Oh man, that's some high class hypocrisy there.
If the
Anyway,
truth hurts, if the truth hurts, wear it. Jesus
right.
Christ.
Man, let me get this footage off the screen because it's killing my
I
eyes.
was wondering if you kept on going with it.
Yeah. So anyway, look, man. Great show. That's all of our
Absolutely.
topics. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Shout out to the 60 people that are here. Hit that like button. Only half of you have hit the like button. If you hear, you liking what you hear, then show us you liking what you hear by hitting the like button, man. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
We are to repeat this announcement that we had earlier. Next week's podcast won't be on Thursday. It will be on Friday. My father's funeral is on next Thursday, so instead of me trying to rush home and like it's just really not the day to be doing a podcast, frankly, and so
Right.
Friday, the day after, we're gonna get back into it. We'll get the podcast going, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just on Friday instead of Thursday. And I think that is all the announcements we have. You got anything else? Anything I'm missing, Forte?
No, we just gotta do our channel members and that's it.
All right, go ahead. Get your.
Yeah, I already got mine up. Shout
go
out
ahead,
to excuse me. Shout out to DefLex27. Shout out to Dragonheart Yobi, Stardust Acero, Ramon Terrell, Hargy Shani, Brat Basement Radio Arcade Pad Chaos, Enrique, what's up? Corey Hale, Erodimus, the homie SloMo Backslap, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. Shout out to Smitty, DJ Oris, SloMo, Erodimus, Corey Hale, and Brap, and Hargy Shani. And Brap and Ramon Terrell, you guys are only 2 months away from being members of the channel for almost a full entire year. We really appreciate that, guys, and all the love and support, and that does not go unnoticed. So if you want to become a 10%er, just hit the join button on my channel or on SloMo's channel. Either one doesn't matter. We really appreciate all the support.
All right, and on my side of things, we got DexFlex27, John the Don, Babe, Dragonheart Yobi, Enrique, Hargy Shani, Troop Serum, Erodimus, Ramon Terrell, Homie One Kenobi, Gaming Forte, Corey Hale, Stardust Acero, and that guy Smitty. We greatly appreciate you guys always supporting us, and we hope you continue to do so in the future, as usual. We're gonna get up out of here. Forte, you got anything going on your channel before we do the podcast again?
Yeah, so got a couple of things. Got some Xbox stuff in the works. Definitely gonna be talking about about this Redfall. I was at work all day yesterday, so I definitely want to give my points and thoughts on just the gameplay of that and everything over there. So there's gonna be a video going up on that tomorrow. Still talk about the Destiny stuff. So if you're into looter shooters and stuff like that, come through. Gonna be making videos on that. But outside of that, man, just play games. We're gonna be streaming very soon. I'm gonna talk to SloMo. What we're gonna do is probably gonna be after he deals with his family festivities and stuff that he has going on. But we oh, did I say festivities?
Yeah.
Not festivities.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, it's not a celebration. Well, once he's done dealing with his family over the course of next week, me and him are gonna get together because we still gotta do that Returnal gameplay. I actually bought it, SloMo. So whenever yes, I actually bought it. So whenever you're ready and you're in the mood to do it, let's do it. Okay. But that's it.
All right, sounds good. And when we do that, it'll be on the DPS channel. Forte, can you put a link for the DPS actual YouTube channel in the chat?
I am doing it right now.
Just so for those who haven't checked it out yet, to join the channel, subscribe. If you ever confused on which channel the podcast is going to be on in a given week, always know that it's going to be on that channel. So nothing to worry about there. You can
it's going to be there. Appreciate you guys. Copy link and paste. There it is. Redfall.
Cool. You see you.
There it is.
Oh, cool. There we go. All right. And as for myself, I'm probably going to do another lunchtime with SloMo tomorrow. So look out for that. I did one earlier this week. First time in a really long time. But we definitely going to get back to lunchtime with SloMo being more of a regular occurrence. And I might be going live with a Brap rant with Enrique this weekend. Look out for that. Probably this Saturday afternoonish. And I don't know. I think I might want to start, utilizing the Twitch channel more as well. Maybe just like playing my multiplayer games on there, just going live and just, shooting the breeze and hanging out and, shooting fools in the face as usual. So look out for that if you haven't. Follow the Twitch channel. Go ahead and do so. But we're going to get up out of here. It's already, it's getting a little late, although actually we've done later. But regardless, that's the point.
We've been at almost 12 o'clock.
Right. It's we done with topics. We getting up out of here. I need to get something to eat and relax. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome and lovely people. And I hope you guys enjoy yourselves, enjoy your weekends, and enjoy your gaming. Peace.
Peace. Love the energy, man.
Eyes up, Guardian.